So, brain dump. Now, you'll see a couple of different types of brain dump journaling. So, brain dump journaling can be used in a couple of ways. You can do it to just dump down your to-do list, which I actually do differently too, which you're going to learn about in the next few weeks as well. But I have a type of brain dumping which is not about a to-do list, but dumping the old pattern that is arising. We don't even know what it is half the time, but we can just start writing, and the crap, what I call the rubbish, will just come out on paper. Now, I use a book like this that I can rip the pages out and I throw it away. I'm not going to analyze it. We sometimes can take the I shoulds, they should, life should, and have a little bit of analysis and see there's a pattern. I'm not going to get you to do that normally with brain dumping. We're not generally analyzing it, because then we're just going into the story of it and we're wiring it back in. And we also don't take the same thing and write it every day. Otherwise, we wire it back in. So we just use a refill piece of old paper, throw it away, and do it about once or twice a week. And try not to do it on the same topic, because you may wire it in. Okay, so we're going to have a go now. So I'm going to clip it out of this video too. But we're going to start with the heading, why is this happening? Now, this is a classic. Why is one of the most destructive ways, and I'm just writing it down. Why is this happening? Why is one of the most destructive ways and ways of talking to yourself and creating in that quantum field and with your brain? Because guess what? Your brain will start to try and work it out, and it can't, because it can't use the same thinking to fix the problem it created in the first place. It's the same level of consciousness, or what you want to call unconsciousness, trying to fix it. So you just end up in this conundrum of, why is this happening? And then it's happening. Why is this happening? And then it's happening, with no shift. And we have to bring another level of consciousness, a higher level of consciousness, and take our brains and being into a higher space to bring some awareness to it, or to dump it so you don't have to deal with it in that unconscious manner. So why is this happening? Now, you could choose an event. You could say, my ex has been really mean to me. My kids aren't doing their homework and their housework. At work, my boss is bullying me. Or you can just start writing. Sometimes I just write, and what happens is something jumps up. So why is this happening? I'm going to talk about my fingers. I have these fingers that are swelling. Now, my mum had a lot of arthritis, but she had it all through her body. And I've done a lot of work on this. So I've just got it in my fingers, and I know I've shifted a lot of stuff. And I can actually make my fingers swell and go down with certain physical things, but also with journaling and using the tools, interestingly enough. Because, of course, the body has been driven from a pattern, so I can use journaling and other things to shift it. But I'm going to write about that. It's quite a personal, private thing for me, but I'm happy to share it with you, because I sometimes don't like them and I sometimes judge it. So I want you to know I'm being authentic and honest here. I use my own body. I use my own life events to journal about. I'm not just making this up. So I'm going to write about, why is this happening with my fingers? You can write about whatever you like, or you can stop this video, carry on to the end, and do it whenever you like. We need to dump to bring clarity, so it can rewire our brain patterns and just bring some calm and some clarity to our brain. And you can do it any time of the day. You can do it at night time if that works for you. You can do it if you're sitting on a train or you're in a car and someone else is driving and you're just frustrated. It's one of my go-to tools I use a lot. So why is this happening? Let's get going. I'm going to read it out to you at the end as well. Okay, I don't know how many minutes. It doesn't have to be a long time. If it's even a couple of minutes, just do what you can. So this is my one. Why is this happening? Why are my fingers swelling up? It's so annoying. I've done so much work on them physically and energetically. So I'm actually an energy healer and I do get work done on them, kinesiologists and other things as well. I'm also taking turmeric and black pepper at the moment. And I'm listening to advice from people I know and can trust to support me in shifting it. I can create change with them at times. The swelling can go down, but just don't know what unconscious pattern is operating here. And it's really frustrating to me. I wished I got a handle on it earlier when it had first started. Maybe there was something else I could have done. I'm aware I need to be open and more honest about it and not pretend it's not happening. So I haven't been pretending to me, but I've been pretending to others. This is a shift as I'm talking to other people about it now. The main finger is my index finger on my right hand, and it's got a little bit harder to write. So the other thing I want to say is I'm worried it's going to stop me from doing things. So I'm just going to write that down. And why I'm writing it down is because when I write, I'm actually rewiring my brain. If you just say it, it's not the same. I mean, you can say this to someone and say, I'm just doing a brain dump. It is not the same, girlfriend. The writing, the physical writing of journaling shifts the brain pattern. So when we're writing with gratitude, we're actually in the basal ganglia part of the brain, and we're opening up the part of our brain that sees value. But when we're writing like this, we're having to rewire that unconscious part of our brain. So the physical writing is really important. Now, if you're stuck somewhere just with your phone, that's fine for now, but do with a pen and paper. I'm really worried it's going to stop me from doing things. Okay, cool. So you can see I've read it out loud to you to show you that I'm talking honestly. I'm not hiding it. Now, if there was swearing in there, that's okay too. So if you're so frustrated, you're like, WTF, what the hell is happening here? You write it like that. We don't pretend, because that is toxic positivity. Remember we talked about that in a couple of videos ago? That's toxic positivity. We actually want to write it as you are saying it, as it is dropping down. And sometimes you're not even talking about it, but that's the unconsciousness that came up. I'm not saying that to anyone, but that's the pattern that's there. That's the thinking that's going on that has risen up from my unconscious mind now to my conscious mind. And now it's conscious, I can do something about it. I've dumped it, and if I see it, or if I start saying it out loud, or if I start feeling that way again, I can start to shift out of it. But when it's unconscious and hidden, it's still operating without us even knowing. So please write it as if it comes up. Don't put icing on a poo pie. It's still a poo pie, okay? You cut through that pie, even though it's got icing on top, it's still a poo pie. We actually want to see it for what it is and dump it. And Mondays are a particularly good day to do that because we do get into stories about the beginning of our week. So you've noticed I'm judging myself in here. Why didn't I do something about it sooner? Maybe I could have fixed it sooner. So there's a lot of judgment in here and judgment of my fingers too. So it's really great for me to keep dumping around this, but I won't do it 3 times this week the same way. I might come in and do it a different way, like why don't I listen to my body or something like that? Why aren't I taking my vitamins or something like that? I can do it in a different way so I'm not wiring that pattern back in. It's really effective, it's easy to do, and my head feels clear and I feel better already. So give it a go. Practice this journaling. Use your pen and paper. Do it 2 or 3 times if you want to. Take different subjects that come up. Or just start writing, why is this happening? Now that just jumped into my head. Something will rise up that needs to be dumped and shifted. Even if you can't think of it, once you start writing, it's going to rise up.